I'd like to call this meeting of the Historical Preservation Board for Monday, April 19th, 2021 to order. I'll be acting as the clerk tonight, and we'll start with the roll. Board Member Addison?
Here.
Board Member Alcorn?
Here.
Board Member Cronenberger?
Here.
Board Member Field?
Here.
Board Member Fisher?
Here.
Board Member Gabriel?
Here.
Board Member Getty?
Here.
Board Member Henderson? Board Member Hood? Okay, we have a quorum. Please note our acting board member Addison is currently part of the 7, or our alternate board member Addison is currently part of the 7 available, so can vote at this point in time. All right. The next thing I'd just like to make a note for the record that board member Geddes has moved from alternate 1 to full voting member, and we welcome board members Alcorn as a full voting member, board member Henderson as alternate 1, and board member Addison as alternate 2. And then I'll begin as the moderator. Good evening, board members, staff, citizens, and guests. I'm Sama Fox. I'm the assistant to the city manager. I'll be serving as the moderator for this evening's virtual Historical Preservation Board. We are streaming this meeting on cable channel 8, Facebook, and on our website at littletongov.org. Please be aware, comments left on Facebook Live will not be moderated and will not be included in the meeting minutes. Those wishing to participate in any public comment portion of the meeting are advised to do so at littletongov.org, My Littleton, Littleton 8 TV, as this broadcast has the least amount of delay. The board will be making nominations for and elections of a new chair and vice chair. After the new chair and vice chair are seated, I will turn the meeting over to the new chair, and the remainder of the agenda will be handled the same way it would be handled for a regular in-person meeting. As always, citizen participation is encouraged during public comment and public hearings. To participate via phone, please call 669-900-6833. When prompted, enter the webinar ID 950-5523-0960. There will be 2 opportunities for public participation this evening, once during public comment and again during the public hearing. Microphones will be muted for all citizens calling in. Citizens can press *9 to raise their hand to be recognized. Once recognized, speakers will have 3 minutes to address the board. The moderator will announce when you have 30 seconds remaining and again when your time is up. We expect comments to be civil. Disrespectful or disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. For agenda items, the chair will ask for a motion and a second, followed by discussion and a vote. Votes on agenda items will be made using a thumbs up for a yes vote and a thumbs down for a no vote. The moderator will call each vote with all ayes and nays. Thank you. It looks like we've had a new arrival. Will the board member that's just joined please let us know who they are? I see your sign is saying Andrea Mimna.
It's the applicant, Sama.
Thank you.
We'll be turning off the video.
Perfect. Okay, so we're still with our 7 board members. At this point in time, we'd like to start with nominations for election of board chair. We'd like to start with just nominations at this point in time. Please note nominations, please just nominations for the chair to start. There is no shame in nominating yourself. Please note only regular voting members and the alternate who is a voting member for this session, as we have a couple of absences, may make motions and vote. Non-voting members are welcome to participate in the conversation. Do we have any nominations for board chair?
I'll nominate Kim.
Thank you. Board member Cronenberger has nominated board member Fields. Are there any other nominations? All right, seeing none, I'd be happy to entertain a motion at this point in time.
I'll move that Kim Fields be the chair for the next 2021 session of the Historic Preservation Board.
Thank you. Board member Cronenberger has moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'll let board member Fisher second. At this point in time, I'd like to take a vote. A thumbs up is a yes and a thumbs down is a no. Are we ready? The vote is 7 in favor. The motion carries.
Only one vote, Kim.
Okay, at this point in time, congratulations, Chair Field. We'd like to move on to nominations for Vice Chair. Do we have any nominations for Vice Chair?
I nominate Laura Gabriel.
Thank you. Board Member Field nominates Board Member Gabriel. Anyone else? Okay, at this point in time, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that Laura Gabriel serve as the vice chair for the 2021 board.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Board Member Cronenberger. At this point in time, we are ready to take a vote. Thumbs up for a yes and a thumbs down for a no. And Board Member Gabriel, you can vote. Please do.
Oh, yeah.
I see the vote is 7 in favor. And the carries. Congratulations, Chair Fields and Vice Chair Gabriel. At this point in time, I'm happy to turn the meeting over and we can start with the approval of the agenda.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And I look forward to serving for my final year as board chair. We're on to the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, the agenda is approved. And minutes to be approved. We vote on that, right? These are the certification of the January 27, 2021 virtual regular meeting minutes.
I'll move that they're approved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor, say, or thumbs up for aye.
Thank you. The motion is 7 in favor. The motion carries.
All right, thank you. All right, we are on to our public comment. Sama?
Yes. If you wish to address the board under public comment, please call 669-900-6833. And when prompted, enter the webinar ID 950-5523-0960. Then press star 9 to be recognized. Citizen microphones will be automatically muted until a citizen is called upon to speak by the last 3 digits of their phone number. When called on to speak, please state your name and district or address clearly for the record. Public comment is an opportunity to express opinions or ask questions regarding issues that are not part of public hearings on tonight's agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. You will be notified when you have 30 seconds remaining and again when your time is up. The board is not authorized under the Colorado Open Meetings Law to discuss, comment, or take action at the meeting on an issue raised by public comment that is not part of tonight's agenda. We expect comments to be civil. Disrespectful or disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. Council, at this point in time, I see that we have one hand in the comment. We have one hand raised for public comment. Caller 819, you have been unmuted. Caller 819, you may begin speaking.
Hello, Historical Preservation Board. This is Pam Chadbourne. I live in Council District 1, a block and a half from the city center. And in what was historical downtown Littleton, but which is rapidly becoming a redevelopment district to a kind of average common construction up and down the whole front range of the Rocky Mountains, and which will not be unique, distinctive, which is the legacy you inherited, but which is not the legacy that you're going to leave. So I'd like to talk about a couple of things. First off, in the meeting minutes, I would like to ask you all to advocate council to allow the city clerk or direct the city clerk to, in the meeting minutes, include the opinion or the direction that public commenters are making. I will point toward the minutes that you just approved for January 27th. It says comprehensive plan and downtown rezoning, and those are both kind of nouns, but they don't say what I talked about or what I was advocating for. People do not come here to talk about nouns. They don't come and say noise ordinance and walk away. They have an opinion, and I would like you as citizens and as influential members, elites, in the direction of the community to advocate that minutes include the speaker's opinion about the issue that's being raised in public comment. Thanks for considering that. My other comment is related toward the Lauthan Design Standards and Guidelines. You do have a Lauthan COA on your agenda tonight, and you're going to be using design standards to evaluate that. And I've spoken about this before. My concern is about Littleton Boulevard and the loss of the first or second best remaining mid-century modern area in the state of Colorado for historical merit of mid-century modern architecture and structures. And the strength of it is increased by the fact that we have dozens of structures that have merit. Yet, you folks have not discussed design standards and guidelines at all. And you're not going to do it in 1 month when the ULUC comes out. The Lauthan standards took 2 or 3 years. I would like you to start discussing design standards and guidelines for preservation of the Littleton Boulevard Overlay Historic District. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Pam, for your comments. Are there other callers?
Thank you, Chair. That is the last caller with the hand raised to be recognized.
All right, thank you very much. Well, we'll move on to general business. And it looks like we have no general business scheduled tonight. So now we're on to our public hearing.
Thank you. Citizens wishing to speak during the public hearing who are not already in the queue should please call 669-900-6833. And when prompted, enter the webinar ID 950-5523-0960. Press star 9 to raise your hand to be recognized as a speaker. Speakers will have 3 minutes to address the board on this topic after the staff presentation.
Do we have any callers?
Chair, I'm sorry, we usually do the presentation before we take the callers. And then I've also noticed that board member Henderson has joined.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
So at this point in time, board member Henderson as alternate number 1 would take over that voting position and board member Addison would revert to alternate.
Okay, and this is probably a good time to say that we do have new members, and while alternate members may not make or second motions or vote, they are certainly encouraged to participate in the discussion and ask any questions that they might have. So, all right, we're going to be discussing this item for public hearing. The resolution title is HPB Resolution 04-2021, approving a certificate of historic appropriateness for an addition at 5657 South Loudon Street. So we're ready for the staff presentation. Andrea, are you ready?
Did we lose Andrea?
Well, we had a dog barking. Is that you?
Yeah. That's my fault, and I apologize.
No worries.
Yeah, so I'm sorry.
Let's give Andrea just a moment.
Sure.
I haven't seen a chat from her or have a message from her.
I couldn't get the meeting invite up on my city iPad this afternoon. I had to call for another invite.
Huh.
So I don't know if it's something with the iPads or something tonight.
No.
Well, she was on
She was
earlier.
here.
Oh, she was on earlier.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was on, and then the applicants are on under her name as well. So there were 2 Andreas listed. So
Yeah, that's true.
So she was here.
Pinch, I guess I could do the presentation, but let me just, she comes on. Well, I pull up the presentation.
She just sent a message, Mike, that she can't get back in, so she sent
Okay.
you the presentation.
Okay, excellent. Let me
Maybe she's in now.
Oh, wait, she's connecting right now.
open that up. Thank goodness. Yeah, I apologize about the delay. If we could just give her a moment.
The perils of Zoom. But this is a great night to be Zooming because it's snowing out there.
Yep. There she is.
Yay,
Great.
Andrea.
Ooh, okay.
Thought I just heard her.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I just got on this second. Am I up now?
yes.
Okay. I got on and I heard silence, but I am ready. Sorry about that. Problems with the VPN. Okay.
You're still here, Andrea?
I'm still here and ready to share.
Yay.
Okay.
We see it.
Okay.
There we go.
Good evening, board members. I'm Andrea Midnaw. I'm Senior Planner with Community Development Department. And I'll be making the presentation on tonight's Certificate of Historic Appropriateness. And we do have the applicant and her architect here with us tonight and that are available to speak with the board. So the purpose of the public hearing is for the Certificate of Appropriateness application submitted to the city for the Hinnenkamp Strong residence located in Loughton Heights Historic District to be heard by the board. HPB will consider the application as part of the public hearing and make a decision at the end of the meeting. In this glimpse of the Loughton Heights Historic District, as shown on the screen, the Hinnenkamp Strong Residences is the house in the foreground. And as I continue with the application, more pictures and proposed designs will follow. Here's a map of the Loughton Heights Historic District. It's shown in pale yellow, and the red arrow points to the subject property, 5657 South Loughton Street. And you can see that this is the block just north of Littleton Boulevard, if you can read that right there. So the process for this application is that after it is received by the city and processed by the city, it does go to the Historical Preservation Board for decision, and that is its only stop in the process. After that, the applicant is free to submit for a building permit. So on to some background here. In the lower photograph right here, you see the subject property, and it is named Hinnenkamp Strong Residence after the first and second families that lived here in this house when it was born. When it was built. It was built in 1921. The builder was Charles Loughton. He was a local builder, and he built nearly all the homes on this block that are in the historic district. Later, Charles Loughton became the mayor of Littleton. This home, as well as others, are examples of the American craftsman bungalow architectural style. So one of the distinguishing features of this house, and others actually in the district, is the exterior finish. And you can see it in all three of these photographs here. And it's known as Pebble Dash. It's mortar with pebbles in it. And a fun fact, the Pebble Dash on each of the homes on the block is unique. No two are the same. Other important features are the front porch. You can see this one is enclosed with windows. And then over here we have multi-light windows on the side of the house, and you can see they're double hung. And on the top there are divided lights, if you can see that. And that is a distinctive style of its architectural style. And then you can also see that the eaves are here and that they've remained for 100 years.
Just activate the Zoom link. You don't have to.
Okay, so we'll move on to the project description. So the applicant proposes to make a 197 square foot addition to the rear of the house. And here in this photograph, you see a picture of what it looks like now. And so we have the house, and then we have this porch that's on the rear. And what they're proposing is to, we take a look at this picture over here, add the addition onto the right. So the porch remains. However, you can see the roof line here is then raised up. And then as it comes down the other side, it essentially dies into the new roof of the addition. And then the other new feature of this is that this existing staircase is replaced by a wood porch. And you see the little bit of a railing and the wood stairs over here. When we look at the addition from the north, we can see how it extends at the back of the house. We can see that roof line, and we can see 3 windows here, in addition to the 2 new windows that face the back of the lot or to the west. Now we'll move into the criteria and staff analysis. Certificates of appropriateness can be granted by the board if all applicable criteria is met. And the full analysis is in the written report that you received. And I'll touch on the most relevant criteria, which is in the Loughton Heights Historic District Design Guidelines. So perhaps the most significant design guidelines have to do with the overall impact to the character of the existing home. And staff finds that for these design guidelines, the impact overall is minimal. The proposed addition is small. It's at 97 square feet. It's at the rear of the house, as we've noted, and it's a property located at mid-block, so it's not visible from a side street. The new roof line does not extend higher than the existing roof line. And so the visibility of the addition from the right-of-way, from the street, is essentially minimized. The character-defining features, such as the front porch, the existing historic windows and eaves, and the Pebble Dash remain. Only at the rear of the building would there be demolition, where the, I'll turn back to this previous slide, smallish historic window over here would be eliminated. The Pebble Dash would be broken through, and this part of the roof line would be demolished to make room for the addition. So these design standards related to exterior building changes appear to be met with this approval. And then we'll move on to additional criteria in the design guidelines. And this is a section on expansions and additions. And in this section of the design guidelines, there are do's and don'ts that are set forth, as you see on the screen. The guidelines are suggesting that additions be placed at the rear of the house, which was also addressed in the previous section, but here it is suggested that additions be distinguishable from their own time. Staff feels that the change in material from Pebble Dash to the vertical wood siding sets the new addition apart from the original historic home. And although the window styles and eaves are maintained in the new addition, an appropriate balance between the old and new is achieved. The addition is seen as compatible. All right, for all public hearings, the city is required to make public notice, and in accordance with city code, adjacent properties were sent notice tonight's public hearing, and in fact, a sign is located in the front yard of this property. Staff finds that all criteria have been met for certificate of appropriateness for 5657 South Laughlin Street, and so staff is recommending approval, and there is a resolution in your packet that reflects this recommendation. There's also a proposed motion in your packet that reflects that recommendation as well. And I'd like to note that the staff recommendation does include one condition, which is just simply that the word schematic be removed from sheet 2 of the plan set where it appears in the label for the south elevation prior to finalization of the plan set. In fact, it's not really a schematic, it's the actual design, just kind of a little bit of a leftover from the first set of plan sets. So that completes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Right. Thank you, Andrea. Do we want to move on to the applicant's presentation at this time? We could do that, or we can, on my schedule, it says staff presentation followed by the applicant's presentation, and then we'll ask for questions for staff. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair, that's correct.
Okay. So do we have an applicant presentation?
Well, we did not know we were supposed to do a presentation. The architect is also here and has presented the schema, which is some of what Andrea was presenting. We love our little neighborhood. We don't want to change it. We just need a little more space on the inside. So we're all on board with the preserving the historic nature of the block.
Can Andrea take down her her presentation?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if there is no applicant presentation, then we can just go ahead and move on to questions for staff. And it looks like we're opening the public hearing for item 6A at what time? 6:58 p.m. So does anyone have any questions for Andrea and staff on this presentation?
Krista.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say that I think it's a good design. It's something that it's complementary. It doesn't detract from the rest of the historic building. And like Andrea said, it's complementary. You know, when you put an addition on a historic house or a historic building, you don't want it to blend and kind of create a false sense of history. And so I think they've done a good job of respecting the original architecture of the house, but making sure that it's distinct from that original portion. And you know, people live in these houses, and you know, they don't want to scrape it. They don't want to add a 2-story addition on the rear. I see a ton of that in Denver all the time. And so I really do, you know, thank the applicant and their architect for paying close attention to the design guidelines that are established.
Hi, and Chair, if I may, just before we go into other board members, I didn't want to cut Ms. Getty's off, but right now really is just for questions, and then we'll open the public comment, and then you'll have discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading my script. My script said to do that. So, okay. So we're just on questions and comments.
It was a good presentation, very thorough.
I do have I think it's a question, kind of blending between question and comment. I did see that in the documents that came with them for the meeting, there's a garage in back. And so my question is presumably the garage will kind of block the view of the addition as well. Is that correct?
Who are you asking?
Andrea.
Okay.
Whoever knows the answer.
Yes, there is an alley at the back of the property, and then there is that garage, and it is of a certain size, and it would most likely obscure a lot of that, a lot of the addition.
Okay, thank you.
I drove down that alley. I don't think you'll really see it. But I think it's a great addition. I think if Mr. Louthan were here, he would approve of this addition.
I have to agree. I think it's just beautiful. And and those are wonderful houses to begin with. And I'd also like to say a few words, or just a word of thanks for good design guidelines. I know how much work went into developing the guidelines for this district, and they're very thoughtful, very thorough, and this is an example of how good design guidelines make your job very easy. Are there any other questions or comments for staff? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I was just going to ask, I'm new to the board, so I'm definitely learning about the Louthan Historical District, but I'm interested in the Pebble Dash and how, if at all, this structure may affect the existing Pebble Dash, because I know that from reading the design guidelines, it seems like that's one of the defining features of this district. And it also seems like it may be a little difficult to maintain.
Andrea?
Yeah, so the Pebble Dash is now about 100 years old, and many of the property owners in the historic district are having problems with cracking, if not all of them. And I do believe that we are reaching kind of a crisis point with the Pebble Dash. There was a workshop, maybe about 10 years ago, where some craftspeople came out who knew about Pebble Dash and stucco and such to try to create a good match. But with each house having a unique texture and set of colors, it became very difficult. And even at this point with the match, what we've learned is that you can try to patch it, but as that patch dries, it's going to pull on the historic Pebble Dash, and another crack is likely to just appear in not too much time at all. And so I have been contacted by one of the property owners who is looking for what to do. And so we are talking through some options, and the board may see something about that in the next few months. For now, this structure seems to be reasonably okay. And the applicant has not expressed a need to do any major patching, or for that matter, is in grave danger with it at this point.
The biggest threat to the Pebble Dash is water, and water spraying on the buildings, and water coming from the inside the buildings if you humidify, because there's no vapor barriers in these houses. So if you humidify in the winter when it's cold, the dew point's going to be right at the outside surface, and you get some freezing. And it's very difficult to match the original construction technique. So, with what Andrea said, coming up with a preventative maintenance plan, but also a forensic plan to understand why it's deteriorating. And it's 100 years old. Everything deteriorates after a while. Would be good to forestall any other major changes to the houses. But some of the pictures I've seen, usually the failures are down around the corner, around the the baseboard where water might be spraying, on the corners of buildings where water's dripping off. There's really not a lot of evidence of drip from the roof. Most of these houses do not have gutters, and it seems to survive pretty well. But typical of old buildings.
Great, thank you.
So are there any other questions or comments for Andrea? All right, I don't see any. So why don't we open the public hearing now for item 6A? And let's see, it is 7:05 p.m. So Sama?
Thank you. A reminder, if you'd like to speak on this topic during the public hearing and are not already in our queue, please call 669-900-6833. When prompted, enter the webinar ID 950-5523-0960 and press *9 to raise your hand and be recognized as a speaker. Our first speaker is 819. Caller 819, you have been unmuted and may begin speaking.
This is Pam Chapburn again in Council District 1. I just wanted to thank Sama for reading the instructions, for allowing public comment, and for all of you for taking your time to listen to public comment on these items. I know it takes time, and I really appreciate your giving the public a chance to understand what's going on and to speak. So just wanted to say that. And otherwise, this does seem like a very sensitive adaptation that wants to follow the rules and preserve the neighborhood. And as I mentioned before, there is strength in the number of buildings in this area. There is a fabric and integrity of the fabric of the Loudon Historic District created by the number of houses in this block and a half, which is greater than any individual structure. And so this is a district well worth preserving, and it would be great if the board would support a owner who is trying to preserve the district by following the rules. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you very much, Pam. Are there other callers?
Thank you. We have one other caller in the queue. Caller 112. You are our next caller. You may press *6 and unmute yourself to begin speaking.
Hello, this is Doug Albrecht. We are residents next to Carol and Stephen on 5647 South Loudon Street, and we are probably the only people who will really see their addition, and just let staff and the board know we have no concerns or no problems. It looks like everything they've done is great, so no concerns with going forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other callers for us?
Thank you, Chair. That was our last caller.
All right, well, thank you very much. So there aren't any other callers in the queue. So we are closing the public hearing at 7:08 p.m. And can I have a motion for agenda item 6A, HPB Resolution 04-2021, please?
I'll make a motion for approval of the COA known as HPB Resolution 04-2021 as presented, with the one correction to the schematic that Andrea requested.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And so any discussion?
Well, I have a technical question. I don't know if this was the right place for it, but on the window for the applicant. You've selected very good windows, and my technical question is, the window that you selected, does it have the cladding, the metal cladding on the outside of the window? I know the inside has exposed oak wood, but I was just wondering about the exterior of this window.
Is Jerry, are you here?
I am here, yes.
Okay, this is the architect who knows the answer to that question.
Yes, this is Jerry Kohler, and the windows selected for the project are an all wood window. They will be factory primed and then field painted on the exterior to match the existing windows. There is no aluminum cladding on the windows whatsoever. It's all wood.
All right, because when I checked on the windows over at Gravina, they showed me one that had the aluminum on the outside, the cladding, the wood on the other. But there's lots of different windows that Marvin offers. So it was unclear from the application what the exact model number of the window was going to be. But the windows are...
Oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I only asked... Yeah. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, no, they are it's an all wood window that they make. And like I say, it's factory primed and then field painted on site.
Okay, good. That's good.
So no aluminum cladding whatsoever.
The aluminum wouldn't bother me. I think it would fit fine. It's just that it's not paintable. That's the problem. So.
Correct. That's correct. Yes. We wanted to keep, as much authenticity and match the existing as much as possible. And we didn't have that many windows, new windows that we were adding anyway. So we chose that route.
Okay, good. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or discussion on the motion? Okay, I'm not seeing any. So why don't we go ahead and vote? We'll call for a vote on to approve the COA at 5657 South Loughton, the motion that is on the table currently. All in favor, please signify by thumbs up. Any opposed?
Vote is 7 in favor, the motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so we are ready to move on to any comments and reports. Can we have a report from the Community Development Director? See if I can see him on the screen. Mike? Mike? All right. Any staff from Community Development here right now with a report?
Sorry, I was trying.
No problem. No worries.
My video on. I apologize about that. Really nothing to report this time, Chair. I appreciate the participation of the applicant and the people who called in and the public hearing. So thank you.
All right, thank you. And how about board members? Do you have any reports on projects from board members that you'd like to share? Yes, Chris.
Is it okay for me to talk about the software?
Is that a report from a board member and you are a board member?
I don't know. I sometimes when I see things, I'm told I'm not supposed to say them. So I just want to be sure.
I think if you just give a brief update, Chris, and you're not looking for discussion on it, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Andrea and I have been in a couple meetings with the software developer and the IT people, and it looks like we're about ready to roll out with things. And so once the weather gets a little nicer, Andrea and I are probably going to go out and try and do like a little test area. And so we're going to resurvey Loughton Heights with the tablet and get her familiar with it. And then at some point we'll talk about training for other board members who are interested in doing survey. But we're just about ready.
All right, that's exciting news.
It is.
All right, are there any other reports from board members? Yes, Rick.
I would just like to mention the Historic Littleton Inc.'s website is in draft form, finally.
Oh, cool.
And we'll be reviewing the first draft on Wednesday. After that, the developer will go ahead, after we approve the color scheme, basically the background, to go ahead and develop the whole thing. It's going to be very nice because it's going to link to a lot of documents on the city website. So I'll let you know as we move along on this project for Historic Littleton Inc.
That is exciting. I've seen some pieces of this, and it is this is going to be an incredible asset to the community. Okay. Any other reports? Well, then at this point, oh yes, Ashley.
If there's nothing else from board members, I just wanted to remind everyone that after this meeting adjourns in like, let's say 10 minutes, everyone has a link to a Teams meeting for training. Just head that way.
All right. Well, first, we've got 3 brand new board members. So I'd like to, at this moment, take an opportunity to welcome you to the board. We're very, very glad to have you. But I'm really sad that we're meeting on these little tiles on the screen. But soon we will be able to get together in person. But I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves and maybe say a little bit about yourself, and the board will do the same. So Paige, you're coming up first on my screen. So Paige.
Hi, everyone. I am Paige Alcorn. I was actually born and raised in Littleton, went to Littleton Public Schools, graduated from Heritage. All of my immediate family also lives in Littleton. I love it here. So I'm excited to be on the board and just learn more about the community and meet other Littletonites as well. A little about me. I am a mom. I have a 6-year-old little boy who goes to East Elementary. And yeah, we are just loving being in Littleton.
All right, thank you. And then next up we have Brandon.
Yeah, hey everybody, Brandon Addison. Been in Littleton for 5 years by way of historic Franklin, Tennessee, where historical preservation was really important, south of Nashville. Previously was a tour guide in the city of Littleton as well in college. Some of my special talents, I can walk backwards and talk at the same time. I got a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old in the city as well. And it's fun to see some familiar faces with Kim. And again, looking forward to learn and connect and help extend the work here.
All right, thank you. Jason.
Hi there, my name's Jason. I'm so sorry I'm late. It was Zoom problems, this is my fault. I've been here since 2013. I previously served on the Urban Renewal Authority until we drove that authority into the ground. And then I joined the library board, which we promptly shut down. So I have very high hopes for sinking yet another board. And if that doesn't happen, then I wish all of us luck. I'm just very happy to be here. I'm in love with the character of Littleton and can't wait to see what's going to happen in the future. And I'm very excited to be a part of the conversation.
All right, thanks. Well, how about our existing board members? I see Rick Cronenberger.
All right. First, I want to ask Kelly, Paige, a question. Is your mom Kelly?
No, my mom is Melissa.
Okay, different Acorn, yeah. Yep.
She also graduated from Heritage, though.
She did. Okay, multi-generational Littleton.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I'm a retired historic architect. I work for the National Park Service. Retired 9 years ago. I began my preservation career in 1978. This is my second stint on the Historic Preservation Board. I was on the original Historic Preservation Board in 1997 to about 2002. And of course, like Littleton a whole lot. Really like mid-century modern architecture. And we have a lot to do on this board. I'm glad we have the new members. And Jason, this board's not going to go away. I think we're here for a long time. So.
All right, thank you, Rick. Laura.
I'm Laura Gabriel. I've lived in Littleton since 2000, April Fool's Day 2000. My 3 girls went to Heritage. And I have grandchildren that live here in Littleton now. Previously, I lived in the Highlands in North Denver and sat on a historic board there. And I'm an old house junkie. I used to own a old 1889 home in the Highlands. So I'm really glad you guys are here on the board. We need help. So this will be good. So welcome.
All right. Thank you. Amy.
Hello, I'm Amy Fisher. I am a Colorado native, born and raised here in Littleton, and I see that Heritage High School is well represented. It's both I and my husband and our son all graduated from Heritage, so that's how we go. I love being on the historic. I love the mix of old and new members on the Historic Preservation Board, and I'm happy to get to know our new members and really glad that you're going to serve with us.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Amy. Chris.
My name is Chris Gettys, and I worked for the State Historic Preservation Office for 12 years. I served on the Aurora Historic Preservation Commission twice. Because I lived in Aurora pretty much my whole life until I moved to the west side of town about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago maybe. And absolutely love Littleton, wanted to keep my daughter in Littleton Public Schools. And so she's finishing up at Powell. And then she's going to break with tradition. She was considering Heritage, but she's going to be at Littleton High School and is really excited about that. But I absolutely love Littleton. Rick was on the National Register Review Board when I worked in the National Register program. And so I have a past history with him. And right now I work for Historic Denver, surveying historic buildings. So I get paid to go out and I'll go old buildings and do research on them, which I absolutely love. And so we're going to be bringing that survey program to Littleton. And that's kind of what I was talking about a little bit ago. But I absolutely love being here and thoroughly love being on the board. And so I'm excited that there's more new blood besides just me on here. So welcome aboard.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, I'm Kim Field, and I moved to Littleton in 1995 from an historic house in Washington Park in Denver. And I moved into a brand new house in Littleton for the first time in my life, living in a new house. And I have to tell you, they're a lot easier to deal with than historic properties. So you just have to give credit to everyone who is loving and maintaining a historic property. My background actually is in archaeology and then history. And now I'm just really happy to serve on this board because it is a wonderful board. And we have a great mix of expertise on this board. I think it's, personally, I think it's the best board in the city. And we're not going to let Jason run us out of town. So. But anyway, I think that's all of us. Lisa Hood is not with us tonight, but you'll meet her soon enough. So we have no other business. So we are adjourned. And we are going to go over to the Teams meeting, the training. And Sama, can you refresh us on exactly how we do that?